I think the interesting thing on this one was the stops. I think that was the more interesting thing
Yeah.
than anything. But
There was a lot on this cruise that was very different than I think any cruise we've ever experienced. So I really want to like compare and contrast this to what we've done before. Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Let's get into it. Welcome to Princess and Scoundrel, where we take you along our scrappily ever after, from Fantasyland to Tatooine to the adults-only cruise in between. I'm Sarah,
and I'm Steven.
and I said scoundrel weird. Did you hear that? Scoundrel. Every time whenever I talk about it online and I do the auto captions, it's either scandal, scoundrel,
Scoundrel.
scoundrel.
I thought you were gonna say something like ahoy, ahoy mateys, or what it ahoy sailors.
Oh, ahoy. Yeah, they would
That's
make you, they wouldn't make you, but that was their little culty thing that they would say.
trying to make it happen, trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah. Ahoy. You're very
Yeah,
sailored up right now.
I'm wearing my red, my
Your
virgin.
Scarlet Knight. Your virgin red. All right. So, if you haven't guessed, we were talking about our recent sailing aboard Virgin Voyages. It is the world's only adults only cruise ship.
It really is the only adults only.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
Oh,
All other cruise lines, there are some that are more geared towards adults, but kids are welcome. But with Virgin Voyages is the only one where you have to be 18 and up. And it was really fun. Like at the beginning of the year, they did a kids sail free promotion, but you had to be 18 still to go. So it was like you could bring your kid, but they have to be an adult. So that was fun. But yeah, no kids aboard. So what were your initial thoughts like going into a cruise? Because this is the first time we've gone without our kids.
well, so I'm a bit of a worry wart in the beginning, anyways.
Yeah.
So there's like that initial, like it's a adults only, which is nice, but on the other hand, now we have to find childcare,
Right.
and so that kind of is a stress, on the whole, like the beginning of it.
Right.
Um, but as far as going on the cruise, like I've started to become more comfortable with cruising, so I think that aspect has been okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more of now like, okay, what do we do on the cruise?
Right. Yeah. If we're not watching after the kids, what do we do?
Yeah, what do I do with my hands, type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my big concerns too, is finding childcare, because while we do take trips without the kids, it's because we're working and we cannot bring the kids with us and do our jobs, like going for mosh, or it's really just mosh
Yeah.
that we don't bring the kids along with us. So this was the first trip where we weren't like actively working, like throwing an event or something, where it was just us. And so I was stressed too, because I was like, well, I feel guilty, like asking somebody to watch our kids for this long. And it was a 4-night sailing we were on, which that's a long, I mean, it felt like a long time to be without our kids, especially if we weren't going to like to work.
Yeah.
But thankfully we have a wonderful family that took care of them for us. But Virgin Voyages, aside from the fact that it's adults only, it was so different because there truly is no stuff for kids. There's no kids clubs, there's no chicken tenders, there's no like any of the normal things that you would expect from a cruise line. If you've cruised any of the other cruise lines, they don't have that.
Yeah.
But then they also do a lot of other things different besides just the no kid aspect. So they have a lot of stuff that's already included in the cruise fare that is typically an add-on with other cruise lines. So like Wi-Fi was included with your cruise price. It's not like,
It's not that great though. It's like cruise.
but it was on par with what we've paid for
That's true.
on
That's
Disney's
true.
ships. Like really and truly, like I was able to post stories and edit reels, and we were able to, like, you had a hard time getting on Instagram. I didn't for some reason.
Yeah,
But
I
you could
didn't.
watch, you could still get on and like stream stuff
Yeah,
here and there.
yeah.
Gratuities are included. So I know gratuities are like a weird thing on cruise lines. because you can prepay them, but if you don't prepay them, they're gonna add them anyway. This is included in the cruise fare, which I think is the right way to do it. They're just paying their people well, and they seem to treat their people very well. Trying to think of what else, but there was no hidden fees. It was just like, here's the cost of it, and go enjoy, and here's all these wonderful amenities, which I really liked. Now the places we went was kind of interesting because it departed out of Miami and we went to Key West, which was really cool. I've always wanted to go to Key West, but I didn't realize how far. I thought it was just the bottom of Florida. I didn't realize it was like
way down
there. We got to do Key West for a day, and then we did their beach club at Bimini. So we can get into kind of the destinations and everything in a bit. But the way I wanted to talk about it is comparing it to Disney and to Royal, because that's what we know, and that's why we fell in love with cruising on those cruise lines. So to do something like so different was...
I don't think it's so different. I think but again, there's always going to be that comparison. You're always going to have one experience and you're like, okay, here's a similar type of experience.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to compare them. And these are the things that, so I think that's where like we're going to have this discussion of, is it as much value, or like, is it worth that extra cost?
Right.
So
let's jump into the dining, because I feel like the dining across all three of those cruise lines, Virgin, Royal, and then Disney, they all handle it very differently. So for Virgin, you book your dining ahead of time, and you get to pick which restaurant you go to and what time you do that. So you don't have like on Disney or Royal Caribbean where they have like early seating and a late seating, and then you just go. You literally make a reservation for every single day. So you could eat at 5:30 one day, you could eat at 7 one day, you could eat at 8, and you pick which restaurants. They have really fun restaurants that are definitely not kid friendly.
yeah, they're different. They're not the same thing.
Yeah. But you get to pick whatever you want, or you just don't, and you can go eat at their, what they call the galley, which is their buffet.
Well, the galley is like what is like the food court, like
it's the Windjammers, it's the Marceline Market. Yeah. It's just their buffet. With Disney, you do rotational dining. So you either get early or late dining, and then you rotate between the restaurants, and there's entertainment, and there's a lot going on, but they decide where you go when. With Royal Caribbean, it's just one main dining room, and you can have an early or late dining, or you can do a my time, whatever you want to do. But you go to the same place every night for dinner, and then the menu changes. So of those, what was your opinion on Virgin?
So,
and where would you, I guess, rank it across the three?
I did like the way the setup was, where you went to like a whole different restaurant, because it was a whole entire different feel. You didn't have the same waiter, which I think some may say I really like that because they know what I like to drink and what I like to eat, and so they won't bring me those things. But there's that pressure, like if you do miss it because you went to the hibachi or you went to one of the specialty dinners, they're like, where were you yesterday? We didn't see you, or you decided to eat, or you were at the beach and you just like crashed out. Like there's like this sense of like guilt. Yeah. And again, like I'm speaking more from that introvert side, is like, I feel guilty that I didn't go eat with them. And then they're like, go fill out the survey, go, do this, do that. So it's like, there's that whole thing where like on Virgin, I didn't feel that. It was very much like I went to a restaurant. The part that was kind of weird, and again, this is going to be my hitting point on this, is I tend to lean towards more as an introvert. And I feel this is more as an extrovert cruise. And so like first dinner, we went to a Korean barbecue, which it was fun.
Gunbay.
But they put you with a bunch of different people. And again, I could manage. You
can mask.
I can mask, but it's a thing that you have to know going ahead of time. Same thing with the other dinners. Like, yes, they'll put you at a 2-person table, but you're like in very close proximity to other couples. Yeah. And some of those couples are very extroverted, so they're going to start talking to you. Yeah. So you can't have just like an intimate dinner type of thing.
Yeah. So our very first
And that's not even talking about the food yet. That's just talking about the atmosphere of
Yeah.
the dinner switches or whatever.
I think so. Gunbay, going to Gunbay our first night, I didn't know that we were going to be sitting at a table with three other couples who they were all lovely and like they made the dinner experience really fun. Like it was a really good time. But yeah, I remember afterwards I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm trying to sell Virgin to somebody, like if you're not extroverted like this, if this is what it's like every night, like it's work. It's like
Yeah.
you've got to put in like the social effort. And it wasn't. All the other nights would it's a cruise ship, like all cruise dining. This is the first time we've ever cruised just the two of us.
Yeah.
So typically we have a table of 4, we have a table of 8 if we're going with other people. So we're kind of sheltered from being too close to other people. This one we were right next to other tables every other night, and it was you got to talk. Even if you don't want to talk, you got to talk. But yeah, Gunbay was surprising to me, but it was really fun. It was, I think while it was a lot of socializing, it was the best way to kick off a Virgin voyage for me, because I'm like, okay, now I get the vibes of what this cruise line is all about, because it's Korean barbecue, but they cook the food for you, and then they do drinking games with you. And so your server comes around, and while she's cooking the food, she's explaining, she passes out like shot glasses of soju and explains the game, and she plays it every night, so she's like amazing at it, and we all lose. But that was really fun, and that's not something I'd ever experienced on, they do like magic tricks and stuff for the kids on the other cruise lines, but this was like,
it was for you,
it was for me, and I was like, oh, I'm terrible at this, but this is really cool. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, for the other dinners, I really liked not having the same wait staff every night, because it felt like you were just going to a restaurant. I didn't feel like you like guilty. They did not at all ever mention a survey.
Yeah.
Which it was nice because I didn't feel pressured to do it. And you got to try different food.
Yeah, the food was very different.
Yeah.
We had Korean barbecue.
We had Mexican, but it was like true Mexican. It wasn't like Tex-Mex.
And then
we did Italian
the last day. But it was like, again,
we missed the last night because we beached too hard.
But it was like the food was entirely different, and it didn't feel like it was the same. Which I think I want to recall like Royal, like they'll have the same kind of steak, and it's just seasoned differently.
Yeah.
The noodles, it's same noodles, but just like a different, here's an Italian noodle, or here's a Mexican noodle, something like that. It's just like, it felt very, or stroganoff type of noodle. Like it's the same thing, but they just put a different spice with it, different sauce. So then they call it something else. And it's like, that's like not what I really like. I wanted different types of food.
Yeah.
So I did like that.
I really liked that. I liked it compared to, like you said, Royal Caribbean, where you're going to the same place every day.
But I did like the galley, like the buffet. I like Royal's buffet better.
I like that in the galley on Virgin, they serve you and you don't put your greasy mitts in the food like with everybody else. It's a lot smaller, but they also, I feel like, had a better variety of food on Virgin, because we had ramen.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Like we had ramen, and it felt like you could eat really bad, but you could also eat really healthy on a Virgin cruise. And I feel like they put a pretty big focus on like health in general, because they have lots of like fitness classes bar. And they had a really good salad bar, but they have a big gym and workout equipment everywhere.
You say the big gym, but I think the gym was smaller than
it's
Royal.
The first time I visited a gym, actually used
it's smaller
a gym.
Than the Disney one. Like I think it's smaller than both of those.
But this is also the smallest ship we've ever sailed on. This was like a small ship.
So it's, I didn't like compare square footages. I didn't go back, but I felt like these are because it's actually two gyms.
Yeah,
one's like for the treadmills, and the other one's for like the weights. It's smaller than each of those other ones, because I think the other ones are like one big gym with treadmills and weights all in one. So it's like, I think they're smaller, but
so I will say overall, in terms of like restaurants and food, though, for me, Virgin is at the top. Now, the one place that I would ding it is their pizza place. Their pizza was really good, and they had some really fun like combinations, but you have to order an entire pizza for yourself, and it's small. It's a small personal size pizza, but nothing beats just walking by Sorrento's and grabbing a slice of pizza and then going and eating in your room before you get ready for dinner. And
well, I think that because like if you're having drinks and you're like, oh, let me just grab a slice,
Yeah.
It's not just like grabbing a slice. You got to
Mm.
sit there and wait.
And it was like a 15-20 minute wait each time we went.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like busy when we went. And so having to wait for pizza, like by the time you got the pizza, you're like, I lost the novelty. I just wanted a slice of pizza. So that would be my one like down, like
So.
thumbs down on it. But otherwise, I think for food, like Virgin absolutely crushes it for me. I would say Virgin, and then I would say Royal
So
Caribbean.
are we gonna do like a
I
1,
think
2, 3?
so.
Okay.
For me, it's Virgin. It depends on the cruise ship, but I would. I really don't like the. I don't like the entertainment on a Disney cruise
We're
ship.
not even getting there yet. We're talking
No,
about
like
food.
on Disney dining.
Oh, okay.
There's some of the shows I like, and I think they're cute, but I think their food falls flat on a Disney cruise ship. So it's kind of hard. It's like, do I rate it for the entertainment that I'm getting during dinner, or do I rate it for like the actual food?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the part that they add to it is that entertainment. But again, you like the
But I
drinking
love-
games. So
That was fun.
But what about like if you don't drink? You want
Yeah,
to
if
like,
you don't
let me
drink.
see. Let me see some stuff.
They gave you juice if you didn't. I'd say Disney. So I'd say Virgin and then Disney and then Royal Caribbean in terms of food.
Man, we're gonna be very
You're gonna
different
flip
because
you're gonna flip the whole
I say
thing.
Royal, Virgin, and then Disney.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
Look at this. We don't agree.
Yeah.
What a shocker.
What a shocker.
Okay. Next topic. Entertainment.
Yes.
So again, Virgin, very different than any other ones. On Disney, you have your Broadway style shows. They play one every night. They have 2 show times. So it's kind of like if you have early dining, you go to the late show. And if you have late dining, go to the early show, vice versa, whatever. But everybody sees that same show that night. For Royal Caribbean, they have 3 or 4 different shows depending on what cruise ship you're on and it depends, right? Like there's ice skating, there's a water show, there's a Broadway show, there's different shows and you can reserve them. So it depends on which day you want to go to which thing. Virgin was similar to that, except there's no Broadway show.
No.
There's no ice skating or water show or anything like that. They're just like random entertainment.
Yeah.
So the one that we only did one. No, we did 2. We did the fancy party, which was just kind of like a nightclub thing. We did the PJ party, which again was kind of a nightclub, which we'll get into that. And then we did the Misbehave show, which was a raunchy comedy game show, interactive game show, trivia show.
Yeah.
Which was, I really loved it. I thought that was fun. But what were your thoughts on entertainment?
I mean, it was fun. For me, I felt like this was you have to be an extrovert, so you have to go and entertain yourself instead of having these opportunities. Like there's to me, it felt limited. It felt very limited. Like you could go do this, you could go gamble, or you could, go listen to the show.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So like to me, that's where it was like rough.
I would agree with that. There's a lot less options for entertainment like throughout the day as well. So like trivia, they have a resident drag queen on every ship, and so we did get to see the drag queen do like sing songs in one of the bars one evening before dinner, and then they had smaller things like that, but in terms of like big entertainment, it wasn't like, oh, everybody goes and does this at night. It was just kind of a whatever you choose.
Free for all, yeah.
And so we really had to, and I think this is the biggest thing, which was hard for us because we've never done. We had to relax.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to do that well. I feel like by the end of the cruise, I learned how to relax, and that was really nice. But yeah, we like options.
I like the option. Again, doesn't mean I want to go do those things. But and again, here I'm gonna give my ranking.
Oh, already?
I'm gonna get, because that way I could explain it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give Royal the top one because it has the most Disney and then Virgin.
Oh, wow.
As far as like the stuff, because again,
are you
Royal,
ranking it on quantity or quality?
both.
Okay.
Because we didn't go see the Aqua Show, but I want to go see the Aqua Show.
Yeah.
Well, rock climbing, we did rock climbing. That was like super cool.
Yeah.
You don't have that over here in Virgin.
Yeah.
They have like a raunchy type of show
on Royal.
on Royal, so you could do that, or you could go to the ice skating thing, or you could do a laser tag, or you could go
trivia.
gambling. You could do trivia. Like they have karaoke, so it's like they have the things that the Virgin has, Virgin Cruise has, but it's just more opportunities.
I think overall Royal Caribbean just has something for everybody. And
Royal,
they
yeah, yeah,
royal
yeah.
and they do a really good job of it. Like they truly have stuff for little kids, for older kids, for adults,
And
for
again,
singles,
there's
for
that
big
part of it
groups.
was like, oh, like my kid likes to do this, so like here's something that I get to connect with my kid on this
Right.
thing. Or if it's like, here, I want to go do it, like I could do it.
Right.
I don't have to. I could sit there and relax if I knew how to, but
We're learning.
um, I think that was my thing. And then Disney's second because again, they have the Broadway shows. They have like a movie theater if you just want to go watch a
Yeah.
movie theater.
And
And
they
like
do have like
that's my thing. Is like, oh, okay, I'd rather go watch a movie than to go sit poolside.
yeah.
So
Which you can't really do on a Virgin cruise either. So their pool, they have two tiny pools and they're like I can't even
again, you have to be social. You
you
have to.
have to be social. I can't even emphasize how small these pools were because one of the pools looked really big, but it was actually like 2/3 of it was like tanning
Yeah, yeah.
ledge where it's only like 6 inches deep. And then the actual pool part where you could get like up to your waist was could maybe fit 20 people, 30 people. Like it was pretty small, but they had a decent sized deck around it. So if you wanted to go lay out, that's not our thing to go lay out by the pool necessarily.
Yeah.
Um, we actually did get in a hot tub on a cruise ship this time though.
Yeah.
And that was pretty lovely, except I got sunburnt.
Yeah, because you're just out there.
Because you're just out there, just
Just
toasting.
cooking, yeah.
I was literally stewing in a pot. But yeah, the pools weren't great. I really enjoyed the Misbehave show. Like I had such a good time at that I feel like it skews my ranking because it was fun. The PJ party, I expected more from it. And so like it was almost like a nightclub, but it was on the back of the ship and the lights were like fully on. So it was like nobody wants to dance. Like you don't want to dance like
Again,
you're at
that's
a
where it's
nightclub
like-
when the lights are on. Yeah, the one that we did on Royal that one time, that was a lot of fun.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like they have the same things, but it just didn't hit for me.
They didn't land
Yeah.
quite right.
And again, I think the Misbehave is more on the presenter. That was a better presenter
actors,
than the ones on like a Royal type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. Is like yes, but it's not necessarily Virgin's. Like if that person was not there, then
Would it have been as fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that. We did not do the Scarlet Party. So like Virgin Voyages is known for their PJ party and for their Scarlet Night. And we missed that. Our bad. But that was like I think it was kind of just a mixer party on two of the
I think it just like
decks.
takes over the whole ship.
Yeah. And then they have a pool party later on.
But again, the Royal has the big ball, the balloon drop.
Yeah. So I mean there's
And you got that big
okay,
promenade.
you're swaying me,
So
okay?
like again, it's one of those things that yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a great
Yeah.
time. I'm kind of like I feel relaxed because we did end up doing like a spa thing there because we were like, okay, let's relax, and we did massages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's where like okay, let's start weeding through it and seeing like okay, how much did I enjoy this? And again, feeling like oh, I got value out of it. Like oh,
Right.
getting to do this, I could, these are all the opportunities that I had. And these were all the opportunities that I had.
Yeah. Now, similar to Royal, they do have theme nights.
Yeah.
So, like, the first night was PJ night. The second night was the Scarlet night. So we did get dressed up. This is your Scarlet
Yeah.
outfit, or half of it. Don't.
Yeah.
That's not.
There's nothing down
it's
there.
business on top right now, guys. But then they did I don't remember the third night. Fancy night? Yeah, it was fancy night. And then the last night was like I don't remember because
Okay.
we didn't go out that night.
So I'm gonna ask.
Royal does the same thing.
Okay, no, not even saying that it does the same because Disney does the same thing
Yeah,
too.
Disney does.
But as from the different groups, was your expectation picked up or let down from people dressed up?
Ugh. Well, this is a leading question because you already know my answer on this. So there are a few main differences. Listen, how do I want to start the sentence? There are a few things that were very different about this cruise than what I anticipated. And this is just kind of an overall, just kind of a sidebar, is with Virgin Voyages, they market it as a very sexy, adults only, fun, luxurious type of cruise. And the cruise ship itself delivers on that. When we got there, I felt like a lot of the entertainment, a lot of the music that's played, a lot of the trivia and the entertainment staff that runs like all the trivia and the games, like it's all very millennial focused, which I'm down for. I'm a millennial, right? I am like a hardcore millennial all through and through. But the actual clientele on the ship was not millennial, like at all. And that was what was shocking to me. I felt like I was actually one of the younger people on this cruise. In a way, like there were some, like the people that we sat with at Gun Bay, some of them were in their 20s, and I was like, oh, okay, like people our age. But then, and there were some bachelor parties and other kinds of stuff, but then we found a lot of groups that were celebrating like 60th birthdays, and a lot of like older couples that were just hanging out. And so I was very surprised by that. I was like, this was not the like sexy party cruise that I was anticipating. And so when it came to things like Scarlet Night, here's where I get back to the point.
Okay, I was like, where are you going? Okay.
When it came to things like Scarlet Night or the PJ party, I anticipated like, oh, like lingerie, Scarlet Night's like red and like, you know, lady in red and like the emoji and all that stuff. And it wasn't. It was just like people wearing like what they would normally wear, but red.
But see, I didn't think they dressed up.
Nobody dressed up.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Is like I felt like at a Disney, at a Royal,
like on Formal
there
Night
was
on Royal, like people like
everybody got dressed. Like there was more participation.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it felt like it was very minimal. And even like, you know, I'm thinking Disney, like they give you a pirate bandana because it's Pirate Night. So it's
Right.
like, if anything, everybody has like a bandana on.
Something,
but
right.
most of the time,
Inclusive.
most of the people bring something else to make it feel like
Right.
pirate.
I would agree with that.
So
yeah, I brought it with my outfits, and then I was like, oh, I could have been way more comfortable because I wore my fancy heels, my sparkly heels that I love, and like nobody wore heels. I was like, oh, this is different.
no, there was. I mean, there were
some.
some people.
There were
but
some, but it
not as
wasn't
much as I thought.
Yeah, not like on Royal Caribbean where if you like don't dress up for formal night, you're like, oh dang, I didn't know it was that nice.
Yeah.
This one I was like, oh,
Wait, is it today?
wait, yeah. But I did like it. Okay, so I didn't rank entertainment. So for entertainment, I would go Royal Caribbean, hands down, like hands down.
Did I sway you by giving
No.
my points?
I love Royal Caribbean like so much now, which is wild to me, because there's something to do for everybody at any time of day. Really and truly, like I just think that they do such a good job for that. Virgin, I had fun. I don't know. I really don't know.
I feel
how
like I
would
swayed
rank the
you
other.
because
you may have swayed me
I
because
think
I
you
was
were
going to
gonna
put Disney way at the bottom.
Yeah.
And now I kind of feel like Disney and Virgin are, because Disney has a very certain.
And again, it's a whole different feel because it's going to be more.
I'll give it
clean, more just like
family friendly.
Family friendly.
But I will give it to Disney because they have a better variety of entertainment. And consistent. So you have meet and greets if you want to do that. You have trivia if you want to do that. You have the movies. You have the Broadway shows. You have the sail away parties, the pirates, and you have the only fireworks at sea, right?
I mean,
for that alone, it takes number 2.
Yeah.
Not number 1. Number 2. So next up, I said we would get round to it. Oh my God, what's the name of it? Where you go? Destinations? There's a word for it. Okay. The ports of call. There you go. The ports of call. So for us, we stopped in Key West and Bimini. And they do go to fun places, right? Like they go to Caribbean and they go to Mexico and they go to all these other places, Bermuda. Most of the shorter sailings, they just hit like Key West and then they hit their beach club. And like I said, I was down for it. I was like, I don't really go on a cruise for the ports anyway. I go for the vibes on the ship. I like to stay on the ship. But we did their beach club at Bimini. And that was, I'm just going to say it was underwhelming. It was really underwhelming. And I was shocked. I was really shocked. Like I've never done a beach club before or anything like that. But it's on the island of Bimini. You get off of the ship, you go on a tram, and then you have to take a tram that like stops a few different places. And I think the tram's not run by Virgin. The tram is run by
from Bimini.
It's Bimini or I don't know. But they take you to one stop and then there's a bunch of people trying to like sell you on like golf cart rentals, and then you go to another place and then you go to the beach club. And I was shocked that the beach club was as small as it was. We rolled in at like 11 a.m. and there were no seats on the beach. None. They didn't have that many to begin with. Um, but they were just like, they were very like crammed together. Like
Well,
on Royal and Disney, they have like
I think because
two
it
or
is like
four
it's like a private resort, so they have like this section that's semi-private.
that's theirs.
That's theirs,
Yeah.
right? Here's our area.
Yeah.
So it's just here's all the, you know, all the loungers here,
Right.
and so you've got the little food sections, which I think we didn't end up eating.
We didn't eat there.
We didn't eat
Oh,
there.
wait. No, I didn't get food for us. I just
Like
got,
maybe go get snacks or
I got
something.
sodas. That was
Yeah.
it.
We just like hung out for a little while.
Yeah.
Got in the water, which again it was nice, but again comparing it to it's the perception of here's an island that I could like just wander around. Where this
And
one I didn't feel I could just like wander.
I feel like we've been spoiled by the other two cruise lines because they have entire islands that are private. And so the only people there are the ones that are on the ship with you. It kind of takes you out, kind of like
Yeah,
bursts
because
the
we saw
bubble a bit.
kids. We saw kids, and I think they were over there like from the other side.
Yeah.
And we're like, what is this? I thought it was no kids allowed.
Yeah. So we walked one side to the other of the beach, and it took like maybe 3 minutes to walk from one side of the beach club
It
to
was
the
a little
other.
bit longer than that,
It
but
was three
you
and
were
a half.
you were running, I guess.
It was Baywatch style. Anybody get that reference anymore? But yeah, we walked in. I was like, oh dang! Like it was jarring to see kids. I was like, dang, there's kids here. I was like, oh, that's weird. And they were in the Virgin Beach Club area, but it was like right in this like mix, like towards the edge between the next place. But yeah, finding a beach club was, or a beach chair was hard. It took us a few tries before we could just find a singular chair to put our bag on so we could go get in the water. But the water was gorgeous. Like the beach
Yeah.
itself was beautiful. Like we had a great time.
I think it's just like just the
It was
beaches.
just beautiful.
So.
They had two big pools, and they ended up throwing like a pool float party when we were heading back, which was fun. So they have the DJ out there, and they have the entertainment staff that's like pumping people up and playing jams. And they had plenty of seating. We ended up sitting way back at the back of the beach club, like far away from the water. And it was nice. We were able to just get some sun and relax and be outside for a bit.
We had to relax.
Because we had to relax. But no, we didn't try any of the food. We stayed out there for maybe like 2 or 3 hours. And then we're like, okay, let's go back and eat on the ship because we were craving ramen.
All right. So now the island, the destinations.
Yeah.
How would you rank these?
I'm going to rank it different than you.
Let's see.
I would rank it Royal Caribbean first, then Disney, and then Virgin.
So yeah.
Like Virgin is definitely in third place for me. I could probably be swayed to put Disney above it. Actually, the only reason I would put Disney above Royal Caribbean is because you can put your kids in the kids club on Castaway Cay and Lighthouse Point. So if you want to go have like adult time and go snorkeling or go do whatever without the kids, you have childcare on the island. Whereas with Royal Caribbean, you don't. But with Royal Caribbean, you also have the water park that you could pay for and like take the kids to go do that stuff. But I feel like there's just a lot more offerings in general on Royal Caribbean's private island.
So I really like the offerings, and of the islands that we've been on, like I prefer like Disney's the top for me.
Yeah.
Because again, you could have the childcare,
Right.
but you could just be on the beach. And Royal, like the water park, it looks cool. We haven't been. We've done the beach, but again, it didn't feel. It felt more like a waiting area where you just kind of like got in the water and like you didn't really get to like swim out there. So it was just very much like here's some clear sandy beaches, and again, it's beautiful. And we're comparing like little bitty things.
They're like this.
But yeah, the Virgin one would be the lowest because it felt more of a like you're just going to an island, and it's not like Virgin's Island, like their interpretation of an island. It's just an island.
Yeah.
So it's just going to the beach. So
Yeah.
that's why it didn't feel any special to me.
I feel you. Now I would say best beach, Lighthouse Point. Like the pink sand,
Oh,
the
yeah.
clear water. Oh my god. That was nice. But yeah, Virgin was the least for me. So let's move into our last category, which is just kind of like amenities overall. So I mentioned in the beginning, Virgin has a ton of stuff included that others don't. Like you have Cokes, like sodas, You have Wi-Fi. The gratuities are included, and then they also put carafes of water in your room
Yeah.
every day, and they refill them, like 2 huge carafes of water, that so you don't have to go out and like get your own water, which I know seems like minor, but there's two things that I stress about, which is parking and access to water. So like when we travel, as soon as we get through security, I have to go get a big bottle of water because I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna have access to like decent drinking water again.
Yeah.
And so I always work like as soon as we land, I'm like, we got to go buy a case of water because I drink a ton of water. So having just those little things were nice. You have a hammock on your balcony.
Yeah. I mean, I love a hammock. The only thing is like it's hot, so you just like are cooking out there.
We were
So,
on the wrong side of that cruise
so
ship.
you can't like just chill out there. You're like, I could be out here for a little bit, relax, but then I gotta go because if not, I'm gonna be toasted.
Yeah, I'm gonna be as red as this
But that's
hammock
nothing
is.
on them. That's just
Mm.
the side and the direction of the sun.
Yeah,
And I don't think they could control that yet.
I don't, not yet. No,
Okay.
soon.
No, I mean, I think we kind of mentioned it before. It did feel less stressful as far as like, um, not having to almost like make sure that your help, the like your waiter or any of them were happy. Like there's that sense of like I have to make sure that they're happy too. Like I don't want to ask too much because this is me personally.
Yeah,
But like there's a sense of like I have to feel like I don't want to inconvenience them too much, and I
Right.
didn't feel like I was inconveniencing anybody.
yeah,
Like with the water, like it was just there. The Cokes, like that's just part of the package. It wasn't a thing of like Royals where you have to buy a drink package,
yeah,
and so you kind of feel obligated. Like all right, well now I got to get a full drink package because if I'm gonna buy sodas and alcohol,
yeah.
like this is the better value, and that's
Well,
how they get you. And Disney has it, but then you're kind of like, let me have to go to the bar to get a soda
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah. It was very. And then the other thing is they take such good care of their crew mates. I think they're called. That they like if they have an evening off, they can go eat in one of
Oh yeah,
the restaurants. Like you just see them ordering coffee and walking around and like going to like they could do whatever they wanted. If they're not working, like they can just go
hang
act
out.
as if they're a guest. And I thought that was really cool because it felt more like, hey, we're all just cruising together. It wasn't like you are staff and you shouldn't be seen if you're not working. Like it was I really enjoyed that. It felt like community, which we love. I will say they also had a lot of like grab and go foods that you could grab. So that the last day when we beached too hard and we didn't make our dinner reservations, like you journeyed out and you went and got food and I was just chilling in the room and you brought back like a charcuterie board and
Well, yeah, they have
like
like
food. It was great
so the galley doesn't stay open like super late, but I feel like it stays open later
than the
than
others.
the other ones
Yeah. But I really like
because
that.
like the Disney one they close like soon as it's dinner time, like the galley or the Windjammers like it
Boom. Duh.
or not Windjammers, what is it called, the Marseille
Marceline
Market
Market.
that
Yeah.
closes.
Yeah. Now I will say one of the last conveniences that I'll mention for Virgin, which I would rank them above either of the other two, is their C band. So it is their ticket, their room key, your whatever, like your identifier. So you wear it and it's really long, but you can change it. But anyway, you wrap it around your wrist and it's just this little RFID thing. Mine said seize the day. And you wear it at all times. It's waterproof, it's whatever. But even when we were like buying drinks or something, they had devices that they could come and tap it or they just take your room number. And it wasn't like with Royal Caribbean where you have to give them your card and then hope you get the right card back. Or with Disney, they have cards or you can use like a Magic Band Plus. I liked this because it was easy. You didn't have a lanyard like messing up your outfit or anything like that. You just had a tiny little band that you wore.
Yeah.
It was nice. It's something so small, but I'm like, oh, this is so cute. So
Yeah.
cute. I like it. It's
Yeah.
a fun little accessory. But yeah, so let's wrap up.
Okay.
Would you go on another Virgin cruise?
Yes. I mean, I think that's kind of an easy one.
Well, you like cruising now. You're
That's
a
what I'm
cruiser.
saying. I would enjoy the cruise aspect of it, but again, I think the heartache, the headaches start. I'm like, okay, now we got to find childcare.
Yeah.
Um,
I think for that reason alone, we will go on Virgin again, but just not as frequently as we would another cruise line.
exactly. I think that's the thing. Is like I would go, but just that's the for us because we're a family
Yeah.
of young kids. That's the first rub, and so you kind of start on that track.
Right. So rank the 3 cruise lines that we've
Oof.
been on
I
overall.
think if you've been paying attention, you already know. Like I've now like
Can I guess your ranking? And then
sure
you guess
could,
mine.
you could guess mine.
Oh, we've already told each other our rankings when we were on the cruise ship. Yours is Royal Caribbean, number 1.
Yeah.
All across the board, you just love Royal. And then Disney, and then Virgin.
Yep.
But you would cruise on Virgin again, so it's not like
Yeah.
you're saying they're the worst ever.
Oh no.
It's just that
Like I said, I would go again. It's just if you gave me a choice of the other ones, I'd probably pick
Disney.
Disney or Royal.
All right, guess mine.
I think you are Virgin, Royal, and then Disney.
No,
No?
Royal Caribbean is my top one. I
Okay.
love it. I
I
love
think
it so much.
for some reason I feel like I swayed you.
No, there's just so much more to do, and especially like you said, like not having. Okay,
We should have had it more of like a debate of like affirming or
well, okay. For Virgin, not having the kids with us was amazing and truly did allow me to relax because I am at least operating at like a 30 or 40% of constantly worrying about the kids. Where are they? Are they taken care of? The fact that they were taken care of and we were not working, so we could just be us and do what we wanted to do was great. Now, the fact that there wasn't as much for us to do was like, oh, now we have to actually relax. So that was weird for me. But I love traveling with our kids.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's Royal Caribbean because there is something for everybody. We can chill by the pool and they can play.
yeah, or
we can put them in the
they have
kids club
yeah.
and we can go to the late night parties. Like we can we have options. But then it would probably be Virgin because I really did like cruise. I loved being on vacation with you and we
Yeah.
had not done that in over a decade.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very true.
So I'm sorry you didn't have as good of a time. I'm kidding. I love Disney. I still love Disney. I think it also depends on the cruise ship. I think makes a big difference for me on Disney. But yeah, I would happily, if somebody wants to give us a free cruise on any of those cruise lines, I will happily take it. No complaints.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah.
So if you've been on a Virgin cruise, let us know what you thought about it, what you did on it, what you liked, maybe what you didn't like, or
Maybe I missed something.
I heard there was a speakeasy that you might like, but you have to get invited to it. And I think we almost got invited that one night, and then we didn't go
Oh.
to the secret meetup. And oh well, next time. But let us know your thoughts on Virgin Voyages. And if you are going to be in San Diego for San Diego Comic-Con, we are going to be back throwing Mosh Isley for the 3rd year in a row at Music Box. You can get your tickets at moshisley.com and come party with us.
Until next time.